Many invest in cryptocurrencies with the hope of becoming rich. After reading about all the success stories on the internet in which small investors became millionaires overnight with their crypto investments. But in reality, very few have managed to do so. Others look at cryptocurrencies from a completely different perspective, as future means of payment in a decentralized monetary system due to the interesting and promising blockchain technology behind it. In order to better understand the technology behind it and thus cryptocurrencies, in this video we will clarify the most important questions and points about cryptocurrencies and blockchains. First, what are cryptocurrencies? What are blockchains? What is mining and why is it important? And why you should definitely understand private key and public address for your wallet that you need for cryptocurrencies if you decide to invest some of your money in them. Crypto investments in general have created a lot of hype in recent years. But what exactly makes cryptocurrencies so special in comparison to other forms of money? Cryptocurrencies are digital currencies that are created, transmitted, secured, and made scarce using cryptographic mechanisms. They are based on blockchains that enable a decentralized payment system while preventing its users from double payments, also referred to as double spending. Blockchains are also often discussed in the media, especially because they serve as a fundamental basis for cryptocurrencies. But why are they so important for enabling a decentralized monetary system? Let's first divide the term into its two parts, block and chains. In the case of a block, you can imagine a box in which all the relevant information for a payment between two people is stored and can be viewed publicly. In terms of cryptocurrencies, it is a digital data storage medium that stores all the important payment information for a transaction between two users, and at the same time makes it transparent to the outside world, so that the payment can also be identified and tracked by others. I'll explain why this transparency is so important in a moment. Such a block can serve as a data store for not just one, but multiple transactions between different users. So why not just use a single block instead of creating and chaining several of them? Because exactly this chaining of blocks is necessary to fulfill the characteristics of cryptocurrencies just mentioned before, which is to achieve decentralization, security, transparency, and thus agreement and trust in its entire user community. If all information were stored in just one block, this could be exploited by a central person or institution to monitor and control the entire system. A concatenation of multiple blocks, on the other hand, allows data about all transactions taking place to be stored in a chronological and transparent manner. In order to concatenate the blocks in a safe way, a cryptographic conversion process, also known as hashing, is used. As a result, all blocks are aligned with each other. Hashing basically creates an output or hash from an input with the help of a specific hash function. How exactly hashing works for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, I will explain in a minute. Consequently, a block always has only one specific predecessor and successor block. This makes the chain tamper-proof and thus confidential, since a subsequent attempt to change a block would destroy the entire subsequent blockchain, and thus all the payment information it contains, which would hardly ever be financially worthwhile for fraudsters and is virtually impossible anyway due to the very complex data transmission between the individual blocks. Therefore, in summary, a blockchain is a secure, immutable transaction history containing all transactions of a decentralized community to date. However, because new transactions are constantly being made, the blockchain must of course also be scalable so that new blocks can be created and connected to the chain. In many cases, this is done through mining. This process is often associated with times of the gold rush at that time, when new gold was created by digging gold in mines. During mining, new coins are also created, but the process is quite different here. In order to create a new block containing verified transactions, a miner must first select, check, and verify certain transactions from a transaction pool, containing all incoming transactions. In order to link the new block to the previous block, some cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin require 3 basic inputs for hashing in order to generate the appropriate hash using certain hash functions. These include the hash of the previous block, the transaction data contained in the block, and a special number called a nonce. The nonce must be chosen to generate a specific sequence of numbers in the hash of the new block. However, because it is practically impossible to calculate the input using the output during hashing, a new nonce must be inserted randomly until a predicted sequence of numbers is generated in the hash. This process is also referred to as proof of work, and it is the most common consensus mechanism, which means agreement algorithm among cryptocurrencies. As its name suggests, it is very time and energy consuming, so high-performance computers, specially adapted to it, are used for mining nowadays. Miners receive transaction fees and a certain number of new coins when they successfully verify transactions and add a block to the chain as a reward for the effort they put in. Mining is immensely important as it ensures the integrity of the transaction data and security of the system, as all transactions contained in the blockchain must be validated before they become part of the blockchain, preventing fraudulent attackers from accessing the system who want to manipulate the blockchain in their favor. In addition, through mining, new coins are introduced into circulation. So we have clarified what cryptocurrencies are, how transactions with them take place, and how new coins are created. What is still missing is to clarify how, in such a decentralized system, everyone manages their own account for cryptocurrencies in order to collect coins and make transactions with them. Since there is no central database where one enters email address and password, and a decentralized database here again with the help of cryptographic mechanisms, each user creates his own account in the form of a wallet, which serves as a storage location for the coins. For the wallet, 2 pieces of information are important: the private key and the public address. As the name suggests, the public address is used publicly for transfers in order to send coins to other people or to receive coins from them. But in order to access a wallet and thus confirm outgoing transactions from it, the appropriate private key is required. The public address is of course visible, but the private key is not, because only a digital signature using the private key is visible to an outsider when a transaction is confirmed. For security reasons, the transaction data to be signed must first be converted using a hash function. Afterwards, in combination with the private key, the digital signature is created. The private key itself is generated by a random number generator. The public address is then derived from the private key. In most cases, a specific hash algorithm is used to generate the public address. The hash algorithm makes it relatively easy to derive the public address from the private key. On the other hand, it is practically impossible to determine the private key from the public address. The irreversibility makes hashing particularly secure. In summary, the public address is used to guarantee your own payment options in a way that is transparent to other users, while the private key is used exclusively for your own security, as long as you handle it with responsibility. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exciting videos in the future. If you have any other topic requests, then let me know in the comments. And otherwise, until next time.